get the music turned down and we'll get started. Not that I mind the music. This has been a brutal 6 months. 6 months ago, people were coming into this building like they had for 5, 10, 20, 50, 30 years, sometimes 40 years, expecting to close. Now, we had a moment of reprieve where we said, well, maybe we'll let this place live till the end of the year to give us the opportunity to find another buyer, and it didn't work out that way. The good news community, and I think somebody in our earlier meeting used a great analogy. If in Chillicothe, it's the kind of community where if somebody's house catches on fire, it's not just the first responders that take care of it, but the community long process with a lot of community input, a lot of vetting, enormous amounts of time spent figuring out who is going to be that during COVID, where we got locked up inside and we had to wear masks and gloves and all that stuff. Most of what will be made in this factory would have otherwise been made in China. So not only is this equipment made here in America, it's soon going to be made right here in Chillicothe, Ohio. So the equipment that will make nitrile gloves in foreign countries, in Canada, in Guatemala, could be more proud of our president for taking that on. So this facility, what you see here today, I want the media here to make certain you talk to the people who worked here for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and have this. For those of you who are, how many of you are veterans? Raise your hands. Let's give them a round of applause, please. Imagine you're a veteran, and you get treated at this of the American dream. That's what I fight for every day in Washington, D.C., and that's what we're going to bring back. So super proud of the team for being able to do that. If I went through the list of people who are responsible for this, we'd be here all afternoon, who are most affected by the closure of this facility. The local stakeholders, meaning the county commissioners, economic development organizations, the mayor, the city council, will work on in the infrastructure of the town, but in the people of the community. That the company being in Ohio makes our communities better, not the other way around only, which is typically the fair. And I think we spent like 5 hours together. This guy loves this town. He loves the people in this town, and he's an amazing county commissioner, amazing man, amazing dad, amazing husband. David Thomas, come on.
Critical and welcomed investment in our community. This investment provides stability to our community and a brighter future than what we thought might have been with this site. It's a big, and this is the beginning of our community's growth. I look at today as a next chapter, and I believe that chapter, and I'm hopeful that chapter is one that's going to be bright. We have engaged with them and understand, based upon their indications, that they have a long-term plan to invest and grow here, and we want to be partners to their growth. But all of us begin to adopt more frequently. Just as in our past, manufacturing is important to our local economy. I can tell you that because every opportunity I've had in my life, in part, dirty work, my inspiration to our commitment to economic growth is with those people in mind. I'm very hopeful that many of the people who have worked here will have to continually diversify and evolve to the needs of today and beyond is important. Today is a significant day in our local history. I came to this role, my role as county commissioner, with the intention of using my experience in my career as an economic developer to bring that experience to the job. I did not anticipate that that would mean a lot of the community rallying together, as Senator Moreno said. Local businesses rallied together and offered discounts and support for those who were being in the future. Those countless examples reflect our commitment to employers here. In U.S. months ago, they expressed their intentions, and I will not forget that Saturday morning meeting when I met many of you. I have to say thank you to Senator Moreno into the discussion very early on. He also announced in April that he would have staff locating here in Chillicothe, and his State Director, Alex Scharfetter, has been a partnership and continued commitment to support growth for Ross County in this region is critical and invaluable, and I say thank you for your contribution and thank you for your commitment to deploying resources and renewing a serious commitment to growth and vitality. The time is now, not only just to welcome U.S. medical across government jurisdictions and agencies, but with private stakeholders and the community itself. I'll close with this, and you can make of it what you wish. No one knows what's going to happen. That doesn't really sound profound or anything, does it? But we didn't know the paper mill was going to close when that announcement came. We didn't know what would happen to this site. The announcement is a win. It's a win for our community. I believe it's a win for U.S. Medical Glove Company. We need to keep working together and focus on our objective, and the wins will keep on.
Here, he got teams mobilized, and the Department of Labor authorized a $2 million grant that normally would take years to.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me here. This is obviously a very joyous occasion. I moved heaven and earth to make sure I could be here for this, and we'll work hard to make sure we find the best possible outcomes for everyone that was affected by that, and you have our word on that. Please reach out to our offices in any way we can help the paper mill. And immediately, we're all here, Governor DeWine, Attorney General Yost, Senator Husted, Senator Marino, all together, trying to cover all bases to make sure it happens. So, and also Jobs Ohio did a fantastic job on this. The whole team was amazing. It continues to be amazing. Unbelievable amount of work to get this done. Stuff I would not have been able to do. It's just incredible amounts of work, time, legwork. As he said, talking to commissioners and local officials, finding business. We don't need that to happen again. We just passed the work rate. American company like John's locates itself among some of the greatest workers in America who are ready to work, know how to work. And the future here is unbelievably bright. He told me, April 15th or shortly thereafter, when we learned about all the challenges of the paper mill and of the property itself, and he had told me that the same week, the next business, I appreciate you guys. I'm looking forward to what happens here. And again, please reach out any way we can help you. We want to do that. We want to bring Chillicothe back to its former glory. So,
and I know inevitably we're going to take some questions from the media. The question will be like, what's the inside story of all this happened? So I'll tell you now, and I'll introduce our next speaker. So I met Ambassador Byrne involved with the U.S. Medical Glove. The conversation was about, hey, we got to stop having government agencies buying personal protective equipment from China, because that's just insane, right? Like, why would we? So you know when you get a new toy, you try to use it all the time. So I'm a new senator, so we have a really cool dining room in the Capitol. So any opportunity, let's have breakfast there. It's really cool, right? So as Robin says, as the sun's rising, and by the way, when that feeling wears off is when I know I'm done. So I'm there, this amazing place. I mean, think about who had breakfast in that place, John F. Kennedy, right? I mean, it's unbelievable. Anyway, make a long story short, they start to make these things. And I turn to Robin and John, and I go, what do you know about Chillicothe, Ohio? And she goes, well, tell me about Chillicothe, Ohio. I told the story about the meet and what just happened. I'd just been here because here we are with hundreds of millions of dollars of investment coming into this community. And I know they're going to be a great steward, because I know Robin will never, ever let the president.
Good afternoon. You're right, it was probably the most expensive breakfast I've ever had. OH! Bravo, we're here to stay. We are here to be partners with you. I myself come from a small community, and when you can't educate your children, I know mothers are over their checkbooks figuring, how are we going to pay the rent? How are we going to pay the mortgage? How are we going to pay that car payment? How am I going to get my child to, and it's going to be people with no hope for the future. So I am here to tell you, as a small town girl who ended up going overseas, and by the way, we had no PPEs overseas during COVID. I had the honor and pleasure industrial genius. We have both served our country. We are proud to be here. We are so happy to be working with the community. I have never seen such a united community. I want to thank President Trump for bringing his industrial strategy, reindustrializing the United States, bringing back industrialization to this country.
Robin mentioned to me that her husband normally won. I said, well, one team was the national champions last year and not the other. So, look, just because I know the media is going to want to know some of the numbers and details, the closing on this property happened at 3 p.m. from their corporate headquarters that come here and have already hired, in that period of time, 60 people to come work at this facility, and there'll be many, many more. They haven't even sold one glove yet, so you can do that. But look, the reality is this is going to be a very incredible, thriving business. For me, it will be a total and complete success. In the past, when we see the investment level that we would never have imagined, and I also want everybody to understand that John and U.S. Medical Glove did this without one other than their own private funds to make this happen. And I think that deserves a huge round of applause. And the city of Chillicothe has phenomenal first responders, firemen, police, all of the gloves to the city for their use. So thank you to John and for the medical glove for doing that. All right, so that's a wrap. We'll take a few extraordinarily friendly questions from the media.
Hi, Senator. So are all employees back here now, and when does the plant officially be open?
So the plant's open now. It opened Tuesday at 3:01 p.m. They had to do a lot of cleanup. There was evidently, again, talk to the employees, ask them what the bathrooms look like, ask them what this whole space looked like. You know, you can't have a successful business unless the people who work with you have pride in their work and here. So he's gone through the employment process of hiring 60 more people. But again, you can see what's going on here. Eventually, this will be multiple lines producing gloves. The equipment will be produced over there. Eventually, the boxes that you see in front of you will be produced here. So this is a ramp up. And I want to make this clear because I think sometimes people miss the lead here. This is nothing that isn't going to happen without enormous amount of hard work. This isn't just going to be snap your fingers and everything happens magically. This requires every single person, the first 60 people hired here, John, Robin, to really dig in, and it's going to be a collective team effort to make sure that this place is successful. But look, my metric, to answer your question, my metric of total success is we've gotten through all the employment of the people that work here who want to work here. Maybe there's people who are close to retirement, and Congressman Taylor said something really important. There was a lot of people that, I'm just going to say the word, felt cheated, maybe rightfully so, out of pensions and vacation time. And John and his team is doing everything possible to restore vacation times, to restore days off that were promised. The medical benefits program is already, I'm being told, much better. We want to make everybody at least whole or better. Now, that's going to be a journey. That's not going to happen because we're here today. Congressman Taylor and myself will work tirelessly to get to that point.
How many jobs are you creating and
Yeah, so we are also working, so if you couldn't hear it, the question was, I'll answer the second one first, pay range. That was also really important to me. As we vetted proposals, and there was lots and lots of proposals, and I apologize to the workers here because I know what that meant for you when you had companies visiting and then you'd hear, oh, this company's doing this and this company's doing that. They had to visit, and I know that the last 6 months, probably that process made it excruciating. But one of the things that was critical to me was we didn't want to say, okay, we replaced 800 employees, but they're making half of what the people were making before. Like that, to me, that's not a win at all. So John and his team is working very, very hard to match or improve on the workers that he's bringing on so that nobody's going backwards in compensation. That's really, really important. So they're working very diligently. Again, also the benefits program. In terms of the number of employees, look, that's going to be dependent to a large extent on what we're able to do at the federal level to make certain that we aren't buying Chinese-made gloves for the VA, for TSA, for HHS. So we have to do, by the way, follow the law, by the way. The law says we're supposed to be doing that. Biden unfortunately gave enormous amounts of exemptions to these agencies, and these agencies got hooked on these exemptions. So for me, it's about making sure that we have a critical demand. But look, you could see 1,000 people working here if this place does what I think the potential is. Now, look, that's me saying. I'm not speaking for anybody from the company. I think the potential is there. When you think about this kind of equipment, which by the way is their design, they currently make it in Illinois. We're going to make this equipment here. The boxes, they've never done that before. They've never made their own boxes. The boxes come from Mexico. So imagine the gloves are coming from China, the boxes are coming from Mexico. All that will be right here, a vertically integrated supply chain with stapled right here in Ohio. The chemicals, by the way, are going to be coming from Cincinnati. That starts in a couple weeks. So this is a great deal from Ohio, and I think we can make that all work.
Senator, paper is so deeply rooted in this community's identity. What would you say to the people who are a little worried about losing that, but they're still excited for this future?
Well, look, boxes are going to be made here at some point. Look, we worked really hard to see what's out there. We had the 3 largest paper companies on earth fly to Chillicothe, Ohio to look at this place. And I don't like to say this because I don't like to look in the rearview mirror, but the people who worked here know what I'm talking about. It's like a car. If you let a car go too long without taking proper care of it, it becomes unsalvageable. Sad. It should never have come to that. There should have been an intervention 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago and taken profits and said, let's reinvest and keep this place going. But that didn't happen, so here we are. But we will still, if you see the name of the company, U.S. Paper Mill Company, LLC, we will be making boxes in this facility, crates in this facility. But they've, again, never done it, so we got to get that started up. But just know that there is a mission piece here, which is these gloves, you're taking business away from China, and you're going to be helping American citizens with gloves made with great pride here in Ohio.
Can I follow up?
Sure.
If I could follow up with that, because it was a question about the identity of our community. Yes, paper has been tied to the identity of Ross County and Chillicothe for 200 years. But it's not, I don't think if you ask the people who worked here, it's because they love paper. And I think that's reflected the same way with the community. It's not so much about what we make, it's about that we make things, and it's about the jobs that are associated with making things. And there's pride that comes with going to work every day and knowing that what you're doing is making something and producing something. And so for us, I think, speaking about the community, yes, it's hard to turn a page when you know, the moniker Paper City, but I don't think you have to get rid of Paper City, that moniker, because we just know it's about the jobs, it's about the relationship that exists when folks invest here. They are supported when they invest here with commitment, and that investment equals investing in the people, investing in the facility to stay profitable, to stay competitive. And I think that's what we lost in so many transactions of this site prior to, prior even to Pixel. West Vaco left. What we experienced in years following was a lack of reinvestment into this facility, a lack of competitive profitability in the marketplace. So I appreciate the question, but I think we're most excited about getting back to a commitment that means growing our economic base. And there's incredible opportunity right now across the country, and we're getting ready for it.
By the way, there's also phenomenal semi-trucks made in Chillicothe, Ohio, called Kenworth. And we're going to have tariffs on foreign-made trucks coming into America starting November 1 to make certain that the trucks made right here in Chillicothe, Ohio are advantaged and trucks made in Mexico or anywhere else are disadvantaged. in this country. So you're going to see great growth, and that happens November 1, which is also very, very positive.
Just a follow-up on the number of employees. I know you want it to grow over time. What's the initial wave as far as numbers? And also, this is an enormous site here, like 450.
468 acres, I believe.
So how much of that is going to be used for?
Yeah. Well, look, the first part of your question, which is again about the employment numbers. Look, here's what any entrepreneur will tell you. You have to see how business develops over time. So what we're not going to do is I'm not going to do is make commitments on behalf of a private business. What I will tell you is that I looked at their business plan. It's extremely exciting, but it's got to happen in a way where the business has got to be there. By the way, I'll tell you this, in that business plan, which is unbelievable, it wasn't 60 employees in 3 days. It was a lot less, right? So because again, you have to ramp up. They're moving as fast as I've ever seen any business move. So they will set, channeling my inner John, he's going to set low expectations, he's going to shatter them. I'm very confident of that. In terms of what happens to the entire site, I think that's a very good question, and we had that meeting with our county commissioners, the city council, the mayor, the economic development organizations. Part of the blessing that came with all these proposals over the last 6 months is there's a lot of interest in doing something here. And what we can now do is, because we have an owner committed to making sure this community succeeds, is figure out, well, you may only have needed a small amount of space to do what you needed to do there. Housing is an issue in this area, so maybe there's an opportunity there. We got to look at all the site and really examine it. But again, I think we all have to remember, give the guy, we have to believe me, as a business guy myself, you got to step back 2 paces and go, this has all happened since 3 p.m. on Tuesday, right? So I get the urgency, and believe me, I want to get going too, but I think over the next year, 2 or 3 or 4, this is going to be a rebirth. And I think I'll do, because we've kept you guys here a long time already, you got to get back to work. I'm going to say this, if there's one headline that is the story of Chillicothe and the story of what happened over the last 6 months, it's a uniquely American story. You can knock America down. You can knock an American down, but we will always get back up. We will always fight, and we will always win. And that's what's made this country and this state and this community the envy of the rest of the world, because we have just begun to get back up, and the future of this community, the future of this state, has never been brighter than what I see it today. Thank you to the hard-working men and women who went through 6 months of hell. 6 months of hell, not knowing what your future looked like. I saw it in your faces on April 15th, and I know it's still hard for you to process what happened over the last 6 months, but this isn't mission accomplished banner behind me. I'm not now saying, okay, I'm done. I'm going to check Chillicothe off my list. Alex has moved to this community. He is going to be here every Monday at these meetings to make certain that the future that we all want for this town is the future that we get. So this is the beginning of the process, not the end of the process. Thank you for coming. Thank you for the hard work. Thank you, Robin. Thank you, John. Thank you, David.